Can we get a zoom? You know, it'd make it easier is if I wasn't talking. G Brown is currently making fun of me behind the camera right now. What? Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing a get ready with me in which I will be using all of my pink makeup. Technically, I guess I should have filmed this like pre-Valentine's Day because Valentine's Day is like a holiday where, you know, you use a lot of like your pink eyeshadows and etc, etc. But I do think that going through to like the fall, pink is a very, very beautiful color to wear. If you have weddings that are coming up, if you want to wear a color for Easter holiday, if you want to wear colorful eyeshadow for like a bridal shower or anything like that, any parties, any events, I think pink is still very applicable for the spring. So hopefully this video will still be relevant. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3 different eyeshadow palettes that I am contemplating using today. We have the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 eyeshadow palette, which is very fingerprint prone. We have the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette, and then we also have the Vieve Muse palette. My favorite thing about pink eyeshadow and why I love this color story so much is because it can be so dynamic depending on the color tone and the warmth of the eyeshadow. So for example, let's say you wanted to go super cool toned. You can see that the pinks in the Huda Beauty palette is quite a bit more mauve-y. You have a lot of those deeper tones in here, or not deeper, but more of that gray shift in your pinks. You can see that this one here, Cherished, has a very, very blue undertone to it. And so it just makes the pinks a lot more cool. Whereas if you compare it to something like the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette, you can see that this, the main color story of this tends to lean a lot more red, a lot more like, it's just a lot warmer. You have a lot more of like that gold tones here, which I always go the wrong way. You can see that here in this eyeshadow color. So kind of similar to the Vieve Muse palette, and I'll be totally honest with you guys, I'm going to purposely not use this palette because anytime I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a pink eyeshadow look, I'm like, no, let me just use my Vieve Muse palette. So I'm gonna force myself to use a different palette. And so I am feeling a little bit more warm toned today, so I am going to go with the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. But I did want to take an opportunity to talk about the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty just because I love this eyeshadow palette so much. When I got this like 2 years ago, I was like so excited. So anyway, just wanted to give it a shout out while I talk about pink makeup. So let's get to applying our Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. I do already have my favorite eyeshadow primer on. This is the Urban Decay Anti-Aging Primer Potion. And then I did also finish like most of my makeup except for when I'm going to add those pink tones in there. So I have like my foundation, concealer, and bronzer done, but we will obviously be doing eyeshadow, blush, highlight, and lips on camera. To get this look started, I think we're gonna do more of a halo look today. I'm gonna go in with the 3 deeper matte shades here to start creating that dimension. And I think just to really pack on that color right away, I'm gonna start with this shade here. I think this is just something that is a little bit different than what I normally do. Normally, I'm very much like that matte tone in like the crease and then just blend it out with like a shimmer on the inside. And so this is, or not inside, all over the eye. So this is definitely a little bit different than what I normally do. So I'm just going to start creating that shape of the halo eye here, placing the deeper color here. I'm using a Vieve 223 brush, by the way. This is the Petite Eye Blender brush. If you want a perfect like brush for the shape in terms of creating this and being very like defined and packing on that color, this is a really, really good brush to have. Honestly, all of the Vieve brushes that I have, I really enjoy. I would say those are my top 2 brands in terms of brushes, so Vieve and the LaRousse brushes, which I talk about all the time. Like the LaRousse brushes are, you know, the ones that look like this, so obviously use those all the time too. And I am just gonna do one eye with you guys. I'll do my other eye off camera so we can save a little bit of time. So now that I have the shape more or less done, and I am going to drag this just across the top just to give myself a little bit of connection between these two. It looks crazy right now, I know. Just trust the process. And then I'm going to take a clean brush. This is a, let me see, Vieve 231 Petite Crease brush. I'm not going to put anything on this. I'm actually just going to take this and lightly brush it over the lines here. Even though it's going to be a halo eye, I still want this to blend into my crease really, really naturally, so I don't want all of those harsh lines. But to kind of help the process along, if you want, you can obviously dip into like a lighter shade. So for example, like if I wanted to take this shade, I definitely could on this brush to just help kind of get started and really blend that into my skin. I always like to start with a clean brush just to see if I can get those lines to blend out without, you know, adding too much color on here. But this is also a good technique as well. All right, and then let's go ahead and pack on that lid shade. I'm actually just going to use my fingers for this, and we are going to use this beautiful pink shade here in the palette. The one thing that I love about halo eyes is that, like, if you want a quick eyeshadow look, halo eyes are actually like pretty easy. So, and they're very much like create a huge impact without that much work. And voila, this is how easy a halo eye is, particularly when you're using an eyeshadow palette that just works really well. The one thing I was gonna say is that, like, I remember why I don't reach for the Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette as much as my other ones. The shimmer shades in here are so glittery and so like bam that it's like on a regular basis, like I don't think I would wear this on like daily eyeshadow. Like, this is not a palette that is like, this is like special event palette really only. Like, if you want to use any of the shimmer shades, they're very, very glittery. I do really like the matte shades though in here. I always forget about how good the performance is of these eyeshadows. And so if I wanted to do like a very like matte professional but rosy toned look, this is definitely a palette where I think you could do that. But just, I mean, the shimmers in here are just, they're a little bit too like, look at me. Let me go ahead and do my liner. I'm going to take the deepest matte tone in here, this one here. I'm going to take an angled brush. This is also from Vieve. This is their 317 wing liner brush. Literally the best brush for a wing liner because it's super, super thin. So you can get like really, really precise with that. Like, you can see how thin that is, hopefully, in the camera here. Yeah. Real thin. So you can get very, very precise with your wing liner, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. So I'm just gonna lay that across my lash line. I decided I didn't want to do a liquid line today. I just want to use my powder liner, mostly just because I want something that's a little bit softer. Kind of goes with the theme, right? Like when you're doing pink tones, it's like, it's romantic. So you don't want it to be too intense here. And I'm just gonna wing that out. So hopefully you guys were able to see how quick that wing liner was. Honestly, if there is one brush you need from Vieve, it is this one, because it just makes wing liner so easy. All right, we're gonna finish the other eye. We're gonna make this the same, put on mascara, and then we'll be right back. I really should use the Patrick Ta like eyeshadow palette more. I mean, it's a phenomenal palette. Look how beautiful my eyes are. I just can't seem to find an occasion where I need to be this sparkly. The one thing I will say that is a little bit different about my eyeshadow, and I've been doing this a little bit more lately, and by lately I mean like in the past 2 weeks, is that I haven't really been putting anything on my lower lash line. I've really been enjoying how clean it is when you just do your eyeshadow on the top and then you leave the bottom very like fresh and clean. All I have is one coat of lower lash mascara to just kind of keep things a little bit like a little something something. All right, moving on to blush. Today we are going to be using an oldie but a goodie. I haven't used this in a very long time, but it is like a pink blush. This is from Tarte. This is their Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Fearless, and like, damn, that is like a Barbie pink blush, and we are going to apply it everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean on my cheeks. So I'm going to take a LaBrusse brush here. This is their LR310 Small Light Powder Brush, but I like this for applying really kind of anything. And we are going to go a little bit higher on the face. Going to keep this relatively at the top here. I'm not someone who really puts blush in like the center of my cheeks. I don't generally like that because I do think it just kind of emphasizes how round my face is, which is to be honest. It doesn't need to be emphasized anymore. So I like to keep my blush kind of higher and then off to the side to kind of help my face look a little more elongated, if you will. Honestly, like all of Tarte's blushes are beautiful. If you haven't tried their Amazonian Clay blush, like this is such an oldie but a goodie blush. It literally lasts on your face all day long. It's super pigmented. It's easy to apply. It doesn't blotch all over your face. Like it's a good one. And I feel like people don't talk about it even though they really should. All right, let's go ahead and move on to highlight. For that, I have my ginormous VioletVoss Pro Highlighter palette in specifically rose gold. So you can see why I love this palette so much for when I'm feeling those rosy tones. We are going to use, over here, Tea Rose to do a highlight today. So using a Vieve brush for this. This is the 132 Luxe Powder Finish. Just grabbing that there. If you heard that popping noise, by the way, that was my hip. What's going on here? I don't know. I love how this does have a slight golden shift to it. It is a beautiful highlight. On the back of your brush, like when you pick it up, it looks like that just looks straight up pink, right? But when you apply it to your skin, it has this beautiful gold shift to it that just looks so, so nice. So for lips today, to keep with the pink theme, I have two different products. The first one is from Alamar Cosmetics. This is their lip liner in the shade Birthday Suit. This is a beautiful lip liner. It is, okay, to be fair, it is a little bit more on the nude side, but it does have a pink undertone to it. And then I'm going to be using the Laura Makeup Labs Glozzing lip gloss, and I have this in the shade Myzztic. This is so beautiful. Honestly, I always forget about the Laura Makeup lip glosses, but like, is that not also a beautiful pink lip gloss? And it's magical. So let's go ahead and apply this. I forgot how beautiful this lip liner is. I also forgot how easy it is to apply these Alamar Cosmetics lip liners. And applying lip gloss now. And that is the completed look. I'm going to go ahead and set down my makeup and then we'll close out this video. This is the final look for our pink makeup. Hopefully this was helpful to everyone watching. I hope you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me and that the pink eyeshadows and the pink shades, all of that will carry on into the spring. Hopefully you have some inspiration and some eyeshadow palettes that I would recommend checking out if you are also into that pink toned eyeshadow. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please feel free to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.